trying to see, it does say 3, so hello. This is Sarah Evans from Into the Blue Channeling, and this is my first time trying a YouTube live stream event. Please do write in the chat and let me know who's listening and where you're coming from today. I wanted to make this be an open question and answer session. Basically, I had another webinar which was on Learn It Live just over a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and that went really well, and it was really really cool situation. So I thought I would try again here and see how things go. What we'll do, so I channel the Pleiadian Group of 9. I'm a Akashic Records reader, I'm a Reiki master, yoga teacher, meditation guide, and here on Into the Blue Channeling, I have a podcast where I channel the Pleiadian Group of 9 and also other multi-dimensionals that stop by and say hello. And so what we'll do is, I know that the Pleiadian Group of 9, I call them the PG9, they have something they'd like to say to the group. I also have a couple of preferred audience questions that people have already sent in. So we'll go through those, and then please write in the chat any questions that you might have for me to ask, whether it's, you can ask, so I'm in my Akashic Records right now, so you can ask my Akashic Records anything, which is why I called the session Ask the Akasha Anything. Or you can pose a question directly to the Pleiadians, or you can have a question for me as the channeler. So I'm happy for any way or shape or form. I'll thank you, Katrina, for posing a question. So yes, please write in the chat if you have any questions for the Pleiadian Group of 9. And please also let me know who's listening and where you're coming from today. And we will get started. Oh, great, lots of questions coming in. Excellent. I wanted to have a little talk about what I have coming up. So there's lots of really exciting things. Like as I said at the start, I am an Akashic Records reader and a Reiki master, and next week, because of it being an exciting time, because of the new moon, it's actually new moon in Sagittarius, and I'm a Sagittarius sun, so for me I'm just like, yes, this new moon means a lot to me personally as well. So next week I have 2 different remote Reiki healings taking place. So on Thursday I have the usual, I have a monthly remote Reiki healing on Learn It Live, and it's we're calling it the Joyful Quantum Healing. I think it's off the back of what was said in the symposium live session, where people were talking about healing the future. So we're going to be doing that basically. So we're going to be having a joyful quantum experience of healing into the future. And then the next day, I have a remote Reiki healing on Insight Timer app, which is also alive. And in that session, I'm going to be doing a new moon health reset. So yeah, that's going to be really dynamic and exciting as well. And also in January, and I think it's the 8th of January. By the way, all the links for this will be in the description of the video that you're watching. So I'm doing a session which I called Envisaging Your Highest Timeline for 2026, self-hypnosis visualization. So what we're going to be doing in that session is we're going to be applying the concept of vision boarding, but we're going to be doing it via tapping into your subconscious mind. So that's going to be a really, really, really cool session to envisage your highest timeline, your highest possible vision for 2026. It's going to be a really cool live event. And by the way, if you already have a vision board practice in place, and if you already have been vision boarding for 2026 already, and so people are very eager and already doing that sort of thing, it's not an either or situation. You can have your own physical vision board and still attend the session, and you can use that session to kind of turbocharge and visualize it. Actually, it speaks a little bit to what the Pleiadians were saying about visualizing and manifestation, right? It's the same thing that we hope to do. So that's going to be coming up on the 8th of Jan. But yeah, so in addition to that, I do one-to-one sessions. In fact, most people who are on here live have experienced one of those, and feel free to put in the chat how you find it. But really, that's my main way of helping people, and it does seem to be the universe is sending me many signs that this is the work I need to continue to do. So if you have an interest in me reading your own Akashic Records, then please reach out to me. Again, the link will be in the notes, but on my website it's quite easy to find my one-to-one sessions. And through that process, we can connect in with your own Akashic Records. So right now I'm in my Akashic Records. There's been to Pleiadians via my Akashic Records, but we were to go into yours. And it's just the most powerful healing resource I think there is. I mean, obviously I'm a bit biased at being a Akashic Records reader, but I do think that because your Akashic Library and Akashic Records are yours, and it's the full kind of, what do they call it the other day, the compendium of all of your lifetimes, and like everything across all lifetimes, all that is. So it's like the best way to tap into the information that you most need to know for your healing at this time. And through Akashic Records readings, I've talked at length about entering into past life experiences. By all means, that's a great thing to do, but it's not the only thing that can be done. Through Akashic Records reading, it's really easy when you're in the Akashic Records to tap into connection with spirit guides, visiting with loved ones. Basically, the options are almost endless for what can be done in these sessions. So if that's of interest to you, then please do let me know. And news, I'm currently in a big drive of creation and doing. I'm writing a book about my experiences in the Akashic Records. So the book is coming sometime in 2026. I'm manifesting that by saying it on the live. But there's also going to be some really cool things on the horizon with Into the Blue channeling. So if you are not currently on my newsletter list, I strongly advise you to visit my website and jump onto that, because I'm actually starting to feel like social media is like, yeah, it just doesn't seem to be quite, what do the Pleiadians say, in alignment. It doesn't really feel to be in alignment. And so I'm wondering whether emails, being on the email list is the best way of getting information out about services and things like that. But yes, I just saw, yes, thank you. Oh, I've been saying thank you. Thank you for being here. And you looked at it again. Excellent. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I was going to say a couple of funny stories from Akashic Records readings, and I guess we still have 5 minutes if anyone wants to hear one of those. But I do find, I think anybody that's tapped into spirit and tapped into all that is will realize that it's actually a very humorous, very upbeat place. Like spirit has a strong sense of humor, right? And time and again, I've been in people's Akashic Records, and there's been things that have come up which is just very amusing, and yeah, just amusing to me, and it's amusing to the person I'm reading for. So there's one story that springs to mind, which is I was reading for somebody, and randomly their grandmother came in. So their grandmother had transitioned, and the grandmother came in, and she came in very happy to see him and very engaged in the process of what he was doing in the Akashic Records, and they had a nice conversation back and forth. But then she kept saying to me, "Tell him don't worry about the toaster. And I was like, this was actually really early on in my Akashic reading, and I was a bit like, I almost didn't tell him because I almost thought like, am I receiving that wrong? It just seemed like too banal, too random, right? But I was just like, yeah, so your grandmother keeps saying to me, don't worry about the toaster. Like, she's showing me a toaster and she's like, don't worry about the toaster. and he was just like, I don't know exactly what you mean, but I will go away and think about that. But anyway, like, it also happens a lot that people in a reading, they might not connect to everything right away, but then in a few months' time or even a year's time, it suddenly makes sense, and they're like, aha, this is what was coming up. But I got an email and they were just like, oh my goodness, yes. It was a confirmation of her, of being her, basically. Because so this lady in her elderly years, she'd become really obsessed with like worrying about leaving appliances on in the house. And so it kind of became a bit of a running joke in the family, like, don't forget the toaster, make sure the toaster's turned off. And yeah, I'm getting chills now as I say this, but like, he was just like, oh my goodness, yes, it was my grandma, because she always would say, don't forget about the toaster, don't forget the toaster. So yeah. So sometimes things that come through are like incredibly deep, incredibly intense, and sometimes it can be something more, banal and straightforward. But yeah, I've got lots of stories like that, and we're going to put it all into the book. But yeah, if you have time, I'll tell you one more story that's funny. I don't know, does anyone else? I found it to be completely hilarious when it happened, but like, yeah, I don't know. Otherwise, we'll finish the call for today. I'm starting to wonder if I'm talking to myself. No one's writing in the chat anything. I will say one more story, and if it's just me talking, then people can hear it on the recording. But actually, just very recently, there was somebody who booked an Akashic Records reading with me, and they asked for assistance, who can assist them with their creative output. Okay, who can assist them with the creative output? And by the way, I knew nothing about who this client was or what the background was or anything like this. I actually, to be fair, I never, ever, ever look someone up prior to a reading, because A, that's not a good use of my time. I'm already psychic. Why would I even bother? Right? And like, B, yeah, why bother? I don't have the time. So anyway, I went into asking his Akashic Records this, and then suddenly the person that walked in was Beethoven. And I was just like, it just seemed like, again, with the Akashic Records and stuff, it can seem, certainly from my perspective, when I'm in someone else's Akashic Records, it can seem so random and be like really like out of left field. But I was just like, okay, there is Ludwig van Beethoven here. And he says, I help you with your music, and I can help you with with the compositions. Turns out the person I was sitting for is a composer. But I was just like, it was just like, what is even happening? Like, what is my life right now? But I was having this conversation with Beethoven, and he was like talking about his family home being a museum, and he was showing me like this yellow painted building, and said to us just like, oh my goodness. And it turns out the person I was reading for is actually from Germany originally, and I had no idea of any of this, right? But like, obviously Beethoven did. And he was like tapping into, like, telling the sitter like all of these confirming things about it. But then he was just like, but don't worry if don't judge, thinking that I at Beethoven I only did one style of music, because actually I've had many lifetimes as different in different musical roles. And he was just like, and in fact, the last person I helped was Avicii. And then, so crazy. So I was talking to Beethoven, and then in walks Avicii and sits next to Beethoven. And they're just kind of like laughing and joking with each other, in spirit. And like Avicii was like confirming, yeah, Beethoven helped me all the time with my compositions, with my musical output. And I was just like, I was telling this to this, and he was just like laughing his ass off, and it was just a really fun, a really fun and also surreal moment. I do think that finding out that information was helpful for that person, and it was an interesting answer to the question. Probably not what he was expecting. Oh, Michelle enjoys the stories. Excellent. Well, there's going to be a book coming of all of these stories one day. It occurred to me the other day that because I record all of my sessions, and now with technology, with like the whole AI of it all, it's quite easy these days to make transcripts of audio files, and so I can actually churn out a book much more rapidly than I might have done in the past, with having to like type out laboriously word for word, like to do the transcriptions myself. So yes, the stories are coming in a book soon. So we're going to get started firstly with just a general message that the Pleiadian Group and I would like to share with you. Just give me a second to tap in. So anyone joining, I am Sarah Evans. I am an Akashic Records reader, and I use the Akashic Records to channel the Pleiadian Group of 9 and special guests. And we are connecting with the Pleiadian Group of 9 now. See what they have to say, because they definitely have a message. Say greetings and welcome to all those watching live, as you call it, or watching later. Of course, the concept of time being linear and not concurrent is different to us as Pleiadians of the 9th dimension. But to honor the way that you and your human brains are currently perceiving time, we will talk about it in this way. We wish to return briefly to what we did talk about in a previous episode, calling it soul time. But we want to revisit the notion that there are many timelines going on, and that you can change timelines at will. This is something that more and more members of the human race are aware of, but it's going to become increasingly apparent as you go through the rest of December and into 2026 and beyond, and the power of your own manifestation to fundamentally timeline jump. Thank you. So in lines with this, we want you to know and comprehend that the possibility of a new timeline and a new era to emerge is of fundamental importance and validity. We want you to perceive time as something that can be consciously malleable. You can make changes. You have all experienced the notion of stretching time, where time can feel like it's going on much longer than it usually would. And at the same time, you can contract time, where a day can fly in an instant because you are in flow and in full joy. This is what we are discussing. In addition to this, we would like to remind you of your light body and how your body is sitting within the quantum time space continuum. Some of you are aware of the Merkaba, the body, spirit, the human light body and spirit, which is how you're operating on Earth in your human body, but in the greater dense, outside of the density is your light body. And the Merkaba is two tetrahedrons that are faced in different directions. So one tetrahedron is from your head down to your hips. You can imagine a triangle. And the other is the opposite direction, from your shoulders downwards towards your feet. So the two tetrahedrons, they spin, and they spin in opposing directions. And some of you are very, very aware of this, and we are just repeating what's already known. But for some of you, this is new information and it will be useful to you. It's important to understand the light body as the Merkaba sitting in the quantum space, because it's through your light body, through your Merkaba, that you can connect into the Akashic realm. The Akasha is also located in the quantum field. And the way that your light body interacts with the Akashic realm is through pure energy. There's many things you can do to strengthen this connection, this relationship. We invite you now to simply close your eyes for one instant and just perceive the space around you. Perceiving the space all around you, front and back, to your left, to your right, above and below. And through the edges of this space around you, you can then perceive the edges of your auric field, your light body. There is more we could say on this issue, but we are aware that you are invited for questions, and so we'll take your questions now. Okay. All right. Thank you very much to the PG9, and hello to Judy, who I can see has joined. Welcome. I did realize I've launched into the channeling, but I did have some things to raise, but we'll come to that at the end of the session. Let's just quickly go to the question that I had written down. I had a couple of questions to address before we go on to the lovely questions in the chat. So I have a question here from an audience member saying that this person has never personally resonated with the term starseed or felt particularly connected in the same way that a lot of other people do. She says, for people who feel more like root workers than light workers, who feel more resonant with the powers of earth and plant than the galactics, is this somehow less than or somehow less ascended a path? Okay, before I launch into the Pleiadians' response to this, I would say that I can relate. I can relate to the sensation. I certainly don't enjoy the term starseed very much. It's funny, I saw on Instagram just the other day, there was a list of attributes of Pleiadian starseeds, and I looked through the list and I was like, oh, because I think out of like 15 of these traits, I definitely have almost all of them. So I was like, huh, okay, interesting. But I also feel very grounded in Earth and enjoying being on Earth. Whereas I do know of people I've spoken to with many clients who feel very galactic in nature, and they don't feel like they really enjoy being on Earth particularly. So I relate to this questioner. But let's see. So she asks, are root workers somehow less than or less ascended a path? We'll see what the Pleiadians have to say on this topic. Okay, they say not at all. Not at all. Every soul incarnated on planet Earth is here to have a human experience. And so we urge you to always try to connect as much with the human experience and with the experience of planet Earth as one can. There is no hierarchy in any of this, and there are indeed many souls who have incarnated on planet Earth the most, and there are also many souls who are currently incarnated on planet Earth that have previously had very few lifetimes on planet Earth, and so do perceive it as being quite challenging. But to answer the question, fundamentally, no, there is no hierarchy. In fact, we as Pleiadians do not enjoy hierarchy of any ilk. It is not something that is terribly useful, and we urge you to refrain from these notions as much as you are able to. At the same time, many people who are star seeds or refer to themselves as star seeds, they also do enjoy this root work as well. And so it doesn't need to be either or. But fundamentally, no, there is no less than. Thank you. Okay. I wanted to quickly ask, I had a couple of questions come in about the 3-eye atlas. In fact, we'll take 2 questions on 3 atlas and then we'll jump into your chat questions. Because I had one person say to me, if we know about extraterrestrials and if we know that the Earth is surrounded by spaceships at all times, then why is the atlas anything of interest, anything special? So let's find out from the PG9 what they have to say about that. Why is the 3-eye atlas special? Okay, they're kind of laughing at this question. Yes, they say, we understand that many of you are perfectly aware of the presence of spacecraft all around. In fact, some of you would be incredibly amazed by the sheer quantity of life in the what you call space, quote unquote. The atlas is a little different. We have had many visits around your solar system, and we've had many activations already. But the 3-eye atlas is something that was contracted to encourage the huge mass awakening which is currently taking place. The 3-eye atlas has navigated around your sun, and from around the back of the sun, we sent through much energy, and we activated your sun at the center of your solar system. The sun, as well as your cells and as well as planet Earth, is also ascending and heading into higher realms of energy. And then, as many as you know, the 3-eye atlas will be passing as close to Earth as is safe and reasonable to do so on next week, on the 19th of December. And this is no coincidence that it's the time of the new moon. This is all planned and orchestrated very carefully for the benefit of not only humanity, but also your planet and all the planets in your solar system. You should feel very excited for this progress, because it is true progress. And it's also, the progress is also not only through DNA activations and solar activations, but it's also mass awakening. Look at how much press it had in the news, and look at how your scientists are amazed and also confused by its progress. It is here to awaken the scientific community as well. So no, it is not just another spacecraft. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. I'm aware that there's people here live, and I want to dive into your questions. So let's have a look at the chat a second. Okay. Oh, I see there's a question about Atlas. Okay, so let's just keep it on the same topic for a moment, and we'll just jump into the question about the 3-eye atlas here. So we'd like to ask the Pleiadians how we can better connect to the beautiful energy of the 3-eye atlas. How can we better connect to the energy of the 3-eye atlas? I say thank you for the question. Just through conscious awareness of its existence and its true nature is enough to register a connection with it. At the same time, everything is getting activated and feeling the energies of this craft. We invite you, as it is in fact one of us, the Pleiadian mothership, as you call it. We invite you to imagine yourself sending your conscious energy to the 3-eye atlas. Many of you have already enjoyed some astral traveling to there, both consciously and unconsciously through astral travel in your sleep. Feel free to set an intention to visit the craft before going to sleep, and you can do so. But at the same time, sorry, one second. But at the same time, you can, through meditation or visualization activities, you can take yourself there and visit with the craft, meet with the light energies and members of the team who are present there. And you may also have already done so. And we want to acknowledge that those who have done so and who perceive that you have done so, we want to confirm that that is what has happened. Thank you. Okay, thank you for the question. Okay, so from the top, a multi-level question. Okay, so Dolores Cannon wrote about the 3 waves of volunteers incarnating to help raise Earth's vibration. If so, how effective is this wave of souls in influencing human consciousness? Okay, I'm not familiar with this. Let's see what the Pleiadians have to say on the topic. So 3 waves of volunteers, how effective is this wave of souls in influencing human consciousness? They're saying yes, they are aware of this concept. There has been steady progress and a plan in place to send different consciousnesses of individuals to incarnate on planet Earth over time. It might not be exactly as told by Dolores Cannon, but the general concept is sound. It's easier to perceive this from the individual level, that every individual soul agrees and chooses to incarnate into a particular reality at a particular instance, to take on tasks. And due to the nature of what's currently happening on Earth, there has been a need for highly complex and high frequency entities to enter into the human Earth density for its active elevation. We do perceive that it's mostly going very well. And actually, if anything, we are perceiving it as slightly ahead of schedule. I hope that answers the question. All right. For the question about advice on jumping timelines more quickly, could you elaborate a bit further about what you mean there for that question, please? You want to know if how to jump timelines quickly, or I'm not quite sure. All right. Okay, so the question here is, what markers or shifts should we look for as signs that humanity's frequency is actually changing? What markers or shifts should we look for as signs that humanity's frequency is changing? It's interesting. Their initial reaction was to show like laughter like groups of people laughing, and they're saying that one marker of frequency changing is the sheer amount of people in giggles and smiling, and that they can't stop from smiling despite everything. A sensation that, yeah, that despite all that may appear to be happening, you generally feel good about it and feel able to laugh. They're saying there's signs everywhere that things are changing. Everywhere. From the quality of light, from the quality of colors, from the vibrancy of your perception on the daily basis. There are signs everywhere that things are changing and shifting. You may also realize and notice that there's signs everywhere that some people are choosing to stay in 3D density and other people are choosing to move. And as more awakened individuals, you can perceive this and have compassion for those who wish to stay in greater levels of hardship and density. But there is nothing really to be too concerned about, as it's individual choice. But they're returning back to the sense of laughter, the high vibration of laughter. Is there a projected timeline for when large-scale transformation awakening may become visible on Earth? Is there a projected timeline for when large-scale transformational awakening may become visible on Earth? They say yes, now. Now is the timeline. In terms of the plan, there is much to unfold in 2026. But in terms of the timeline of mass transformation, the key dates are 2027 to 2032. We say this with the caveat that through free will, this timeline may change. And in fact, there's been some signs of a mass earlier awakening, slightly earlier than was planned. There's waves of awakenings that happen. And the next wave is happening right now in December 2025. The transformations are gradual, though. You may already perceive some transformations occurring, certainly in your ability to tolerate certain things and feel differently about reality around you. The shift has already begun, and things will change quite dramatically. If you remember this conversation in June 2027, and you look back at the year 2025, from June 2027, you will say, wow, it's almost unrecognizable. Thank you. Okay, guys. Okay, so the advice on jumping timelines more quickly. Can they share advice on how to do this more successfully? Okay, so can we ask for advice on how to jump timelines more quickly, more successfully? They say yes, absolutely. The way to jump timelines and to pull timelines closer to you is twofold. One is to visualize and engage in as many senses as you possibly can with what you would like to occur. So visualize the reality in which you'd like to move into. Make it as vivid technicolor as you can. Engage with the emotions of how you feel in that reality, in that timeline. Think of how you will, what your thought patterns would be in that timeline. Engage with it as thoroughly as possible and engage with the high frequency emotions of what it feels like to be in that timeline. So that is task 1. And then task 2 is to take steps, active, practical, in the physical steps to move into that timeline. So say, for instance, your desired timeline is you'd like to own a new car. And in the reality of now, you can't afford it. So you visualize this car and you visualize exactly what it is, how it feels like to drive, where you'd go in it, how you feel, the happiness, contentment, joy, how it connects you with your loved ones, how it connects you with freedom. And then you take active steps to move into that timeline. You invite in abundance. You look at adverts for cars of that type. You bookmark pages. You call up dealerships. You go and test drive these cars. You do everything you can think of to make practical steps to move into that reality, and it pulls it in towards you closer and closer. But ultimately, the quickest way is visualization and holding high frequency emotions through the visualization process. Thanks. Okay, thank you very much. I think that's all the questions we have at the moment. If anyone's got any more questions they'd like to ask in the chat, feel free to enter them in. I do have a couple more questions that I have written down here. Oh, hi. Fascinating question, I have no idea. Let's ask the PG9. Are there pyramids underneath the earth? It's interesting because as I was asking the question, I stopped because they started to show me a visual of it. 1 second. So they're showing me a visual of this, of kind of a subterranean situation. And yes, I see pyramids. Interestingly, I see pyramids that are also upside down. And I see pyramids that are, for want of a better word, pointier, upside down, that they're showing me. 1 second. Yeah, I'm getting a very intense visual of kind of underneath, somewhere underneath the crust of the earth, there is like a kind of a hollower space, and in there are pyramids and upside down pyramids. And 1 second, let me just ask the Pleiadians, what can you tell us more about this? Yes, they say there's many aspects, particularly of underground or under the ocean, that humanity has yet to fully acknowledge and be aware of. But there are they're showing me other things. It's like I'm not sure exactly what I'm seeing here. It's very bright. There are constructions that are subterranean, that were placed in the earth from a much earlier period, the time of Atlantis and the time of Lemuria. They're saying as well that the transmissions from the Z's of with Lee Harris are accurate. So they're acknowledging that. Okay. Thank you. I hope that's helpful. For some reason I'm getting error message, but if things are still taking over, then fine. I don't know what. This was my first time doing this, so bear with me. You're so welcome. Thank you for the question, Emily. Okay, so we've got a question. How can we positively contribute to the awakening of the new earth? Great question. How can we positively contribute to the awakening of new earth? The Pleiadians say that by your presence and your active participation, you are contributing to new earth. They're saying that new earth is as much a state of mind as a reality. And so the more you can do to walk and do the walk and do the talk of being consciously awake and alert at all times will help to benefit with the progress into new earth. By which we mean taking care of one another, taking care of yourself, taking care of the planet. In the new earth consciousness, community is much stronger than what you currently experience. There is more communal sharing. It is a future where capitalism does not exist in the way that you currently know it. And in the new earth, the hierarchies and structures of government being ruled on by a small amount of individuals, this will also no longer be present in the way that you currently experience it. In the new earth experience, in the new earth conscious state of mind, you will feel empowered to heal yourself, govern yourself, feed yourself, do much more that are no longer relying on the current structures of power and the current forms of a late stage capitalism. But to return back to the original question, and in the quickest way we can say is love yourself and love all those around you, and everything else will follow. Love the earth. Stay in the frequency of love as much as you possibly can. Okay, thank you. All right. Where time's ticking. Maybe we'll take one more question from the live, or one more question. If no one's got another question, I've got another question here. Also about the Atlas. Obviously, it's a popular topic. So if no one's got a question on the chat, 1 second. I'm a bit scared of my mouse now since something weird happened before. Okay. Let's just ask one more question. I have this question here, which is really interesting. So they're asking about the 3i Atlas and the saying that they heard someone talk about the time police, some kind of enforcement for time traveling. I'd love to know if Pleiadians' view on that. Wait, that might be two questions. Because there's the first bit about the Atlas and the second thing about time police. Actually, the asker is well listening now, so feel free to say. But okay, I think this is two questions. So we'll take the first one, which is the Pleiadians were involved with the Atlas. It must be they're asking, is it a very special and beyond ancient ship? Okay. Judy, do you want to comment on whether it's two different questions? All right. We'll see what Pleiadians have to say about a special ancient ship. They say yes, as we've already indicated, it is a special craft. In terms of its dating, we call it ancient. They're acknowledging that it's been traveling for some time, but it also uses a lot of technology to travel through light years with much ease and speed. Oh, they also showed me that it kind of traveled through. I'm not sure if black hole is the right word, but they showed me that it kind of entered through some sort of portal, and it got kind of, I guess the human expression is teleported from one location in light years to another, like really fast through some kind of circular portal type space. Okay, so maybe this is touching, Judy, on what you're saying about time police and enforcement for time travel. Right. Okay, so they have confirmed that the Atlas has jumped across time with their journey very rapidly. What would you say about time police and enforcement of time travel? They say they don't really want to get into that just now. But they do acknowledge the use of portal-style technology to jump across great distances. Okay, very interesting. But anyway, I really appreciate your time today and joining me live or watching the session at a later time. It's been an interesting experience on YouTube. A couple of quirky things. It's still giving me an error message above, and I'm not sure exactly why, but at least you are hearing me now. But yes, thank you so much for being here, for supporting me. And if anyone is finding this, please do like and subscribe on the channel. I've been at 99 subscribers, and I'm just like, I mean, I'm enjoying the angel number, but at the same time, I'm just like, can it be 100? Can I get that for Christmas? Anyway, so I'm Sarah Evans of Into the Blue Channeling and of sarahevans.co, and yeah, thank you so much, and I'll say goodbye for now. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and also happy holidays. Obviously it came in holidays attire. But yeah, take care, and thank you so much. Thank you for listening to Into the Blue Channeling. Please do like and subscribe to receive about our upcoming episodes. See you next time.